So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Christina Hildebrand. I am the president and founder of A Voice for Choice Advocacy. Our mission is to educate and advocate for informed choice and transparency of what goes into your body, be it food, air, water, pharmaceuticals. We want you to know what's in it, and you get to choose whether you put that in your body or not. I have had a number of emails and a number of even phone calls asking me about the amendments to SB 866 and why A Voice for Choice Advocacy is asking for amendments, and other organizations have basically called us out. I usually don't get into the petty fighting, infighting in our movement. Those of you who know me, I've been doing this since 2015 when I got involved and created A Voice for Choice Advocacy. And one of the things that our organization prides itself on is just putting our nose to the grindstone and getting work done. Much of the work, even if you follow us, much of the work that we do, nobody knows about because I don't go out there to brag about our achievements, and I probably should do more. And I know our fundraising director would like me to more, but that's not who I am. That's not who our organization is. We do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. We do a lot of work where we, go down rabbit holes and determine whether it's even a viable path or not. That's who we are. I am doing this today because Freedom Angels, Denise Aguilar, has called me and A Voice for Choice Advocacy out, and her organization, Tara Thornton, and her are working with some of the other organizations in our movement. And I just want to address, her what she's been saying is that, if SB 866 passes, that it is all our fault, all a couple of other organizations that we work with that have requested amendments on that bill. To be very clear, I wish we had that much power. I wish that our organization could say, we want amendments, and authors of bills put amendments in their bill. Unfortunately, we don't have that much power. Senator Wiener with SB 866. Senator Wiener has a bill that has passed without any amendments to this point on the assembly floor, other than the amendment he made on the assembly floor. That is unheard of for a bill. If you go and look at any other bill that has gone through the legislature, it gets amended along the way. That's just how legislation works. That's how bills in California work. They go through and get amendments, usually in every committee. So if anything, this bill is abnormal in the sense that it does not have any amendments, or didn't have any amendments as it hit the second House floor. So let's just be clear on amendments. The amendments A Voice for Choice Advocacy requested, we requested them in January. When this bill first came out, within 2 days, we had written a letter with all the amendments that we wanted. I encourage you to read our amendments because they aren't 15 years old. And they didn't get that from us. They are very, very extensive amendments. We use amendments because we have worked with legislators in previous years, and we've gotten amendments that make a bill, that water a bill down so much, or make a bill okay. And I get people will say, well, there's nothing okay about SB 866. But if you actually read our amendments, we want parents to be informed beforehand. We want parents to be informed afterwards. A lot of things that if we actually got all of those amendments, you would realize that the bill doesn't change legislation that much. We use amendments so that we can have conversations with legislators, and that we're in control of the narrative and the language that's being used. So let's be very clear. Senator Wiener has a bill. It wasn't going to pass the assembly floor, written as 12 years old and up. If you are a legislator and you're in June and you've got 2.5 months left of the session, and you have a bill that is not moving forward, that you're extremely passionate about, and it's the last bill of its kind out of a package that was supposed to be passed this year, put yourself in his shoes. Would you let it die, or would you amend it so that it passes? I can guarantee you would amend it so that it passes. And so this first set of amendments, if you look at the name of the amendments that changed the age from 12 to 15, was called Set 1. There isn't not a Set 1 if there isn't a Set 2 or 3. So he has more amendments in place that he could use to work out and get people to vote for his bill. That has nothing to do with us. He rejected our amendments flat out. We've had conversations with his office. He said, nope, we're not taking any of your amendments. So these amendments that he has and that he's going to bring forward, they may be based off our amendments because we have gone to legislators and had those conversations. But we are very clear that we need every one of our amendments to be put in place in order for us to not oppose and not ask legislators to oppose. One of the key things so that's the history of 866 and sort of that piece of it. I just wanted to respond because I don't appreciate Denise, calling me out, calling our organization and other organizations out and blaming us if SB 866 passes. If SB 866 passes, it's because Senator Wiener did his horse trading and got the bill to pass. The other thing that I want to say about organizations in our movement. So A Voice for Choice Advocacy is the longest standing organization in this movement that was created in 2015 out of SB 277. There are two other organizations that were around before that fought and stood up to the vaccine bills. One was the National Vaccine Information Center, NVIC, which is Barbara Loe Fisher's organization, and the other is Educate Advocate, which is a special needs organization. Those two organizations were in existence prior. But other than that, in 2015, A Voice for Choice Advocacy was created. There were other organizations created at that time. None of them have had the longevity. There are a few that were created between 2015 and 2019. And then there are a number that were created in 2019, and then a number were created in the last 3 years. My key point of that is we were new once upon a time. So I know what it's like being a new organization. But my request for you is do the same thing as you would with any of these bills or anything that you put in your body. It's our mission statement: informed choice and transparency. So look at the organizations that you're supporting and that you're following in the same way. Do your research on them. Are they 501c3s, which means they should just be educating with a little bit of legislation? Are they 501c4s? We have both. We have A Voice for Choice, which is a 501c3, and A Voice for Choice Advocacy, which is a 501c4. 501c4s can hire lobbyists and can do pure lobbying. If they are either of those types of organizations or a PAC, then they have to give all of their financials to the government. You can look at all of our financials. You can see how much we get donated each year, how much we pay for lobbyists, all of that type of stuff. If they are not one of those organizations, then you are giving your money to the individuals, and those individuals can do anything they want with it. They're not accountable to it. So I just want to be very clear that, when you follow these organizations or these people, just make sure you understand where they're coming from and what other organizations they're affiliated to. So, I just an example, the Freedom Angels, they also have another group called Ma Militia. They do civil disobedience, and you can go look them up, but just know what other organizations they're affiliated to. Know what I do. I'm at the same time as I'm telling you to go look at all these other organizations, look at A Voice for Choice Advocacy, work out if we're the organization that you want to follow, work out what the organizations do and what their primary focus is and where their money goes. So I just wanted to share that at the start of this, because a number of people have called me, have praised me, and then also said that I'm sleeping with the devil and I'm doing the work of the devil and all of this stuff. And I can assure you I'm not. I've been doing this. I literally spend about 80 hours a week on this. I don't get paid a penny. All of your donations go to A Voice for Choice Advocacy. None of it ends up in my pocket. I'm thankful that I have two businesses that I run and have made good investments over the years. But I don't take any money from Voice for Choice Advocacy. So just wanted to share that and know that, I'm not going to bring this up again, because I hate this. To me, we show ourselves, we prove ourselves by the work we're doing. Besides A Voice for Choice Advocacy, do you have other suggestions for groups to be a part of, to stay informed, or to advocate? So I'll tell you the groups that we work really closely with. We work very closely with CHCA, California Health Coalition Advocacy. They are also the only other 501c4 in California. So A Voice for Choice Advocacy and CHCA are the only two groups that have lobbyists in California and that are 501c4s that all we do is legislation stuff. So those are two organizations from a legislative perspective. And then the other group that we do a lot of work with is Educate Advocate, and they are special needs they're an organization that helps special needs children and parents of special needs children. So all of the IEP questions, they're the group that we go to. We do some work with Freedom Keepers. Again, beyond that, my recommendation, there are a lot of organizations out there. The other organization that we partner with on a national level, so if you want to look at what's going on nationally, is Stand for Health Freedom. And they are the one group that we partner with. We are their California group. So they have a group in every state, or nearly every state, that they work with, and we are their California organization. I'd look at what your priorities are. So our priority is legislation. We also, on our 501c3, we're working on, we haven't revealed this, but we're working on sort of getting toxins out of schools. So getting pesticides out of schools, getting disinfectants out of schools, that kind of thing. We haven't launched that project yet. We've been working behind the scenes on it diligently. But, I would look at what do you want the organization to be doing for you. If you want legal on a federal level or individual, great organization to follow from that perspective. Children's Health Defense is a national organization. They do have a California chapter, but they don't do legislation and lobbying. They do more education side of things. Bobby Kennedy wrote his book on Fauci, those types of things. So look at what jives with what you're interested in, and where again, I come back to time, money, and effort. Where do you want to spend your time, money, and effort? And what organizations jive with that? For some people, lobbying and legislation is the worst thing, and they don't want to have anything to do with it. Great, then don't do that. go do something else. So I think that's, the way I look at it is look at what the organization does and look at how they spend their money, what they spend their money on, how much money they raise, and where that money goes. And if they're transparent about it, one of the big things with us is that, every penny that people donate to a Voice for Choice or a Voice for Choice advocacy goes back into our organization. It pays for, Voice for Choice advocacy. It pays for a lobbyist. It pays for our, the 4 people that we hired this year to help me so that we can do it. But it all goes back into that. And our, as I said, at the beginning of this, our records are public knowledge. Look at who is doing what you like, and I'm also going to say, who's actually doing the work, who's got their nose to the grindstone and is doing the work and is not doing it for ego purposes, because there's a difference between talking a lot and doing a lot. And I personally work with people who do a lot, and it doesn't mean to say we hit the headlines. We just get the work done.